Found a clutch of heat leeches.
Captain, hello. I am. Lifting off now. Orbital pattern locked in. Smooth jump.
This is
Nice
Restore
work.
Collective Space. Hold while we scan your ship. Alright, we're done. Welcome to Hopetown.
I don't want to hear any complaints. Keep an eye on your valuables.
As vital as spaceships are to these settled systems, everything would grind to a halt without the Trade Authority. If I am not mistaken, you are new here. I hope you find Hopetown as full of opportunity as the Trade Authority does. A marvelous place, truly laissez-faire. If you have any difficult cargo to unload, I'm happy to oblige. It is true that the Trade Authority is just terrible at inspecting cargo manifests. We really plan on getting better about that one day. So, do you need anything? Delightful. There was a time when every business magnate in the collective knew my name. I've never been much for offices or a storefront. But here, people from all over the system come here. A true crossroads.
Excuse me.
Escape trajectory plotted. Looks peaceful from up here, doesn't it? Navigational
Be
network
advised,
checks out.
you are entering
We're in the right
United
place.
Colony space. Please maintain course and prepare to be scanned. Scan complete. You're cleared to land.
Hey,
The community center on P1 is
News you can trust.
oh, you're back because you found the next book, right? Right? Nice. Can't tell you how long I've been waiting to add this to my collection. Thanks again. I hope this makes it all worth it to you. I've got a lot of free time. Oh, tracked down another volume of Dragon Star Force. I'd definitely appreciate it if you could help me out again. I appreciate it. I'll be sure to make it up to you.
Careful near the railings on the upper levels.
Ah, it's you, my friendo! You really plenty. I've always got work to do. Oh, wait, you mean more work from me for you? As a matter of fact, I do. You know how I have that shh business on the side? Well, I could use some help acquiring more goods to sell. How would you feel about obtaining them for me? No. Well, they may not be entirely legitimate, but I assure you, they're not exactly illegal either. You'll be obtaining equipment from renegades, enemies of the settled systems. So really, you're doing everyone a favor. Excellent, friendo. I have a buddy who gives me information on where to find renegades throughout the stars, and I will give this information to you. You will go there and get the items I need from them. One thing, though, I don't want to hear details on how you get them, but you will likely need to use force, so be careful. And try not to damage the merchandise. These goods I am asking for, maybe keep quiet about them, yeah?
Something you need? Pressure hold it. Take on course code. Apogee kick complete. Orbit steady. Grab jump complete.
This is the Earth Colony ship constant. What is the nature of your communication? Oh, yeah, I heard about you. You're the one who made this possible. Very cool. Everything's good so far. We're just making final preparations to grab jump out of here towards our next destination. Did you need something? Oh, guess that's our cue to get ourselves together and vamos. I guess we'll see you if we see you out there. Bye. This is the Earth Colony ship constant. What is the nature of your communication? That they are. I'm still learning this new comm system, but it's telling me you're the one who helped us out with it. At least scans say that's your ship ID. Cool. Can I help you out with anything? Not quite sure yet. We've got a few possibilities for habitable planets to check out. We've just gotta pick one and go. That'd be great. Hopefully you can find us out there exploring, or if we finally settle. Take care.
Hello. This is a boring assignment, but let's keep it that way.
Enjoy your visit here.
Boy, am I glad they have a chunks here.
Hello there. Welcome to the new Homestead Chunks. We've got all your Chunks favorites. Well, almost all of them. Sadly, we're out of the special sauce. I know. But everything else is still that great Chunks food you know and love. So, what can I do for you? If I'm completely honest, it is. And people are always saying how this Chunks can't compare to the real deal. And I just know it's because we never had that mouth-watering sauce. I've been in contact with some of the other restaurants out there, and they'll give me some, but they say they can't afford to send it, and I don't have a ship, so what am I to do? Wait, for real? You do that? You're not pulling my leg? Oh, yeah, right. I actually just got a message back from another Chunks before you got here, and they got a case ready to go for me. Just tell them you're there to pick it up for me, and it should be good to go. Thanks.
Did you see those wind turbines out there?
Too late.
What can I do for you? Great! Another tourist. Let me guess. You slipped on the ice and need a doctor to wrap your sprained ankle? They do, but they're also a terrible burden for a small colony doctor like myself. I have enough trouble treating our own people with the time and resources I have. I appreciate that you're trying to set me at ease, but that might as well be the same. Sorry for how I responded. It's not you, it's me. I'm just frustrated about all the non-native people I need to treat when our own still need help. Anyway, what can I do for you? It's a harsh world, but as long as you're inside or wear a suit when going out, You'll be fine here. There's no breathable air on the surface, and you'll quickly freeze to death outside without protective gear, but otherwise the hazards are minimal. New Homestead was an early colony research base and has stood the test of time. It's safe, and it's proof that people can live pretty much anywhere. Don't worry so much. I don't. They make a mockery of New Homestead culture. And on top of it, they're reckless. It's like I said before, I feel like I'm treating them more often than our own people. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that may be best suited for someone relatively unknown, instead of myself. I've got a mountain of work and a reputation to maintain. So I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor about terrible creatures living on Titan. I figure that once word gets around, tourism will take enough of a dive to give me some relief. Oh, good. I was hoping not to have to do it myself, so I'm glad to have a volunteer. Here's the costume. I think this will work best on the surface, so just find a group and run up to them, acting like a convincing alien monster. With any luck, they'll run screaming and book the next flight out of here.
We used to get more tourists than we do these days.
No disrespect, but I'd appreciate if you let me and my family be.
Someone's got to talk to Joyce about these brownouts.
Feel free to look around, but don't touch.
We take vandalism seriously here.
That old Titan wind is going strong today. Oh, hello there. Are you here about the brownouts? That's usually the only reason people come up here to talk to me, since I'm the power system manager here. Yes, the power shortages we're experiencing. Haven't you seen the flickering lights? This equipment is all very old, and the protections against the cold have worn down, so now, brownouts, all the time. And I get to deal with it. Hooray for me. Of course you did. That's okay. It's a problem here. Citizens and visitors alike have a right to know what's going on and when to expect a fix. Problem is, I don't know how long we'll have to deal with this, because I'm needed here to oversee the whole system, and we don't currently have anyone available to go out and solve the issue at the moment. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'm a little new to the job, and I'll admit I'm struggling a little bit. I could use some help. So I really want to impress everyone and show them I can handle this. The power equipment is ancient and in need of replacement, if I'm being honest. We just don't have the money in the budget right now to do it. The previous technician was adamant that it was better to repair than replace. So he never submitted any replacement plans for budget considerations. We have to wait for next year. I could use someone who's handy with a laser cutter to break up the ice that's formed on some of the power system machinery out there. That should clear up the shorts we've been experiencing and stop the brownouts. Does that sound like something you can do? Oh, thank you. I guess I'm lucky you showed up then. Just be careful not to hurt yourself or the equipment. I'll continue to monitor things from here. Careful not to damage the equipment with the cutter while you're working. We don't... Good work. I should be able to take it from here. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too much of a pain in the butt.
You want to know what life was like for the early colonists? Starsap Tours was voted Best Historic Tour 3 years in a row. Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap of Starsap Tours. Let me tell you, this place is full of history and interesting facts. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of the first colonies established outside of Earth? It's been populated in some capacity for over 200 years. Yes, sirree! And that's not science fiction, it's science fact. There's a lot more history where that came from. So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now if you'd like. Excellent! You won't regret it. My tours are one of a kind. Now, there's just the matter of price. The going rate for a genuine Starsap tour is only 100 credits. Well, 100 credits is very reasonable, I think. Well, I don't usually do exposure, but you certainly seem like a well-traveled individual. Maybe it'll be good for business. Tell you what, I like you. This one's on the house, but if you enjoyed the tour, I'd really appreciate if you'd tell all your friends about me when it's done. So let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me.
I'll treat you if you need it, but please, I'll bet they won't be coming back anytime soon. Thanks for indulging me with my weird ideas. Tell you what, if you want to come back later and do this for me a couple more times, I'll even let you keep the costume.
Have any questions so far? Sadly, it's difficult to get additional construction done inside these underground caverns. So for now, additional populations are housed in these stacks of old shipping crates. As you might expect, this is where some of the less wealthy can afford to live. It's not glamorous, but they are functional and cozy. The original Titan Astro Base had more habitation pods on the surface connected to some of the old structures you may have seen in the back. As the colony grew, the base was expanded underground, and those hab units were recycled into materials used down here. Oh, sure, I'll be here waiting. The locals love to talk with tourists, but they'll let you know if they're busy, so please respect them.
It's always so cold here.
Have any questions so far? Alrighty, we'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out... the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Don't stay outside for too long here on Titan. You'll freeze solid without the proper protection.
If you need
New
medical attention,
Homestead's
see
farms are
Dr.
the
Lakota.
beating
But
heart of the colony.
a word of
Without
warning.
them, the
She
original
really doesn't
outpost
care
would have
for
shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate controlled, the perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony.
If you'll pardon me, I'm not in the mood to talk.
Any questions about the farms? Good question. It's largely the same, because this was the colony that pioneered the techniques you see elsewhere. But you'll notice that the farms here are smaller and staffed by humans, not robots. Things here are a little more old-fashioned compared to some of the large factory farms you'll find elsewhere in the settled systems. These days, it's a mix of what you find elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the olden days, it was all brought over from Earth. It was a lot of hardy root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, beets, and such, supplemented with corn, peas, green beans, soy, etc., which didn't always grow as well. Oh, they are indeed. Colonists still cultivate plant-based food for their own consumption here in New Homestead. It's less vital to their survival these days, as they also import supplemental food from other colonies, including meats, dairy, and synthetics. However, most citizens here take pride in a New Homestead-grown, sustainable diet. Onward it is! We'll be stopping by the Brown Horse Tavern later in the tour, which uses many of these locally sourced ingredients in their cooking. But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. Follow me! So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase. Sadly, they're undergoing some light renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here. Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old Titan Astrobase biolabs. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention that. That's what this place was originally called. When NASA divested its interest in the Astrobase and turned it over to the people back in 2185, they renamed it New Homestead and established it as a historical site. Funny you should ask! Sadly, none. See, NASA funded the Titan Astrobase project because conditions seemed ripe for primordial life to form in Titan's methane pools. They tested many different sites, performed deep core ice drilling, and more, yet nothing turned up. Well, NASA defunded the xenobiology program in 2132, but a scientist by the name of Catherine Neely proposed research into advanced colony building on inhospitable worlds. So, by 2135, work began on what would ultimately set us all up to create habitats anywhere humans dared to explore. These very labs housed the computer systems used in that research. That and general storage for the colony. Lots of storage. You got it. On to our next stop. Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. we're going... out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
Welcome to New Homestead.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astro base. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. These turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, let's talk about wind power, shall we? You're right. Most surface wind on Titan isn't too terribly strong, but here, the altitude and other conditions are perfect for sustained wind power. Like many worlds with atmosphere, the higher you go, the windier it gets. Mostly. I'm sure you've noticed the occasional brownouts. I guess these old machines have a habit of freezing up, what with all the ice out here. There's some methane on reserve for critical life support systems, but everything else here is otherwise powered by the units you see here. You're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Though of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled systems. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Fire away! Ah, it's not as if they shut down for a month. It's not shut down at all, actually. See, this place is built with redundant systems, so they can shut it down piece by piece and suffer only a reduction in throughput. During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places, allowing New Homestead to maintain what it needs. Exports mostly, since this world is so methane-rich and has the infrastructure for it, a lot of the UC's methane comes from Titan. Of course, new homesteaders use it themselves for everything from generating heat to turning it into breathable oxygen via modern science. Oh, no one's ever asked me that before. Something to do with methane-eating microbes, I believe? I honestly don't know. Sorry. Okie dokie, artichokey. There will be time for more later anyway. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like. I've heard this particular formation was caused by an ancient volcano. Something about steam and wind, then worn down over time. But I'm not 100% sure. Excellent. On to the next stop then. So, we're gonna head back inside through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. That brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and I respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
I don't mind the tourists. Help the local economy.
Lots of history here, if you're into that sort of thing.
This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, you're welcome to keep your suit on if you like. As you might expect from a place called the Ice Mines, it can get a little chilly. It takes miners working daily to clear the ice, melt it down, and keep the water flowing. Can I tell you about the ice mines? Not all. Some water is created as a byproduct of methane processing, but that's usually saved in the emergency reserves. I wouldn't recommend it. First, it's an active work site. Second, it still needs to be filtered and checked for contaminants. But don't worry, we'll stop somewhere for refreshments before the tour is over. Good question. I believe it has something to do with not wanting to contaminate the water with methane and other chemicals. The ice helps prevent impurities in the water. At least this is what I've been told. Sounds good. Let's keep going then. We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite. This colony is home to the longest-running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern. The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established.
Aren't they going to think we're even more old-fashioned than they already believe? That's a good point.
That delicious smell is making me hungry. Can I answer anything about the Brown Horse?
But you're probably right.
Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Feel free to ask her. It doesn't feel right coming from me when she's standing right over there. Easy. All the other ones fell to ruin when we abandoned Earth. There were technically older ones on Mars, but those have long since shuttered or been replaced. Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop.
Why not order some food and make yourself comfortable?
Feel free to check out the museum.
Welcome, I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us at the Brown Horse Tavern?
Rare Earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity.
Hope you'll be back sometime.
Happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more.
I can't imagine living here. These people sure are hardy.
Well, that's that! I hope you enjoyed Starsap Tours as much as I enjoy giving them. Oh, wow, I really appreciate it. You know, I rely on tips from good people like you, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New Homestead.
Take care!